Hello everyone and a very warm welcome to another lesson. In this lesson, we are going to learn about IELTS Speaking Test Part 1. Our topic is hobbies. Hobbies. Now, if you're planning to sit for your IELTS Speaking Test, then there is a chance that you may get some of these questions. We are going to look at the questions in details, and we are also going to look at some sample answers. Let us begin. Question 1. Do you have a hobby? Do you have a hobby? Now, when the examiner asks you this question, he or she wants to know if you have an interest. What is it that you like to do during your free time? Do you have a hobby? Do you have something in particular, an activity that you like to do every single time when you have some free time? That is your hobby. That is your interest. Now, you may answer this question by saying, sample answer 1. Yes, I have several hobbies actually. They include baking, knitting, cooking, reading, and writing poems or articles for my journal. Yes, I have several hobbies actually. They include baking, knitting, cooking, reading, and writing poems or articles for my journal. Now, that answer has several hobbies because, as you pointed out at the beginning, yes, I have several hobbies actually. So it's not just one that you have several. And then you list what they are. You provide an answer as to what they actually are, and that is baking. For example, baking cakes, knitting, like for example, knitting scarves or cardigans, cooking, reading, and then writing poems or articles for your journal. Now, you can provide that kind of answer if you have more than one hobby. But if you have only one hobby, then you could say, for example, when the examiner says, do you have a hobby? Oh, yes, I absolutely love watching television. Whenever I have some free time, I like to watch my favorite programs on television, for example, shows that have something to do with baking. I also love reality TV, and whenever I have some more time in the weekends, I like to watch my favorite films on Netflix. Okay? Now, what you notice is that I have still provided at least 2 to 3 answers to that question, and that's what you should do. You should ensure that when you're answering each of your questions, you provide at least 2 to 3 points, and then you can join them together using linking words, like for example, and. Okay? Now, question 2. What equipment do you need for it? What equipment do you need for it? Now, what the examiner wants to know in this question is, for you to be able to carry out your hobby, to do it, what sort of materials do you need? Are there some special tools, for example, that you need to be able to do it? What are they? That's what the examiner wants to know. Are there some specific tools? Are there some specific sort of materials that you need to be able to carry out your hobby? What is it that you use to do your hobby? What do you use to do your hobby? Now, you may answer this question by saying sample answer 2. To bake, I need a mixer, a whisk, a sieve, an oven, baking sheets, and a tray. To knit, I simply need needles, yarn, and a crochet hook. Cooking pans, stirring spoons, and a cooker are essential for cooking. As for reading and writing, I simply need a book, pens, and writing pads. That is if you have more than one hobby. Because if you have more than one hobby, as you pointed out in sample answer 1, then you have to explain what equipment you need for each hobby. Okay, so to bake, I need a mixer, a whisk, a sieve, an oven, baking sheets, and a tray. To knit, I simply need needles, yarn, and a crochet hook. Cooking pans, stirring spoons, and a cooker are essential for cooking. As for reading and writing, I simply need a book, pens, and writing pads. Now, you notice in that answer, I have used a variety of sentence structures, okay? That is also expected of you by the examiner when you're sitting for your IELTS speaking test. Ensure that you use a variety of sentence structures, for example, simple sentences, compound sentences, and also complex sentence. Okay? Now, for example, if you look at the first sentence, that is a compound sentence because I have at least two verbs. I have need and I have joined all those words together using the connector and, that is the linking word. And then I have also used a compound sentence further, and I have also used a complex sentence. If you're not familiar with that, feel free to have a look at my playlist on grammar. I have uploaded a video that is titled The 3 Types of Sentences that we have in English. That should help you to know what they are and how to form them or construct them using connectors. Okay, now let's move on to question 3. Do you think that hobbies should be shared with other people? Do you think that hobbies should be shared with other people? Now, what the examiner wants to know in this question is, in your opinion, this is your own personal opinion. Do you think that people should share their hobbies? Do you think that people should share their hobbies with others? Do their hobbies with other people? Do you think that people should share or rather do their hobbies with other people? Okay? Now, to answer this question, you may say, let us look at sample answer 3. When the examiner asks, do you think that hobbies should be shared with other people? Yes, I believe that sharing the experience with others makes it more enjoyable and fulfilling. You can also learn from each other and share equipment. Yes, I believe that sharing the experience with others makes it more enjoyable and fulfilling. You can also learn from each other and share equipment. So I have provided I have given my personal opinion, which is I believe that people should share their hobbies with other people. I believe that sharing the experience with others, but I've also provided some reasons as to why. 1, it is enjoyable. 2, it is very fulfilling. 3, you can also learn from each other. And 4, you can share equipment. So this is the idea. Ensure that you provide several answers within your answer. Okay, avoid yes or no answers. Now, also join your ideas together using connectors. Like, for example, you can see I have used and, but I've also used also. Okay? Let's move on to question 4. Did you have a hobby as a child? Did you have a hobby as a child? What the examiner wants to know in this question is, when you are young, okay, when you're a young girl or when you're a young boy, did you have a hobby? Did you have a particular interest? Is there something that you really used to enjoy doing from time to time whenever you had some free time? Did you have a hobby as a child? Okay, that's what the examiner wants to know. Now, you may answer that question by saying, yes, as a child, I enjoyed fishing with my father every Saturday morning, but I had little patience, unlike my father. We fished in several river streams near our house. Yes, as a child, I enjoyed fishing with my father every Saturday morning, but I had little patience, unlike my father. We fished in several river streams near our house. Now, in that answer, you have not only given the hobby, you have not just pointed out that you had a hobby as a child, but you have also stated what type of hobby it was, and that was fishing. Okay, and you have then provided a few more details as to when you did it and where, and that is you did it with your father and you did it every Saturday morning. But you have also provided something a little bit more, and that is the fact that you had very little patience. Now, to be able to fish, you have to be very, very, very patient to wait, okay? But as a child, you had very little patience, unlike your father, who was very, very patient, okay? But then you have also explained where you did it, and that is you fished in several river streams near your house. Okay? Ensure that every single time you provide a detailed answer. You will not be penalized for providing a detailed answer. Instead, you will score more points. However, ensure that you join your ideas together correctly using linking words. Okay? Like you notice in that answer, I have used but. I have also used unlike. Okay? So ensure that you use linking words to join your ideas together. Now, let's look at question 5. What hobbies are popular in your country? What hobbies are popular in your country? What the examiner wants to know in this question is, in your country, what sort of activities do people do during their free time as a hobby? In your country, what do majority of the people do during their free time as a hobby? Okay, what hobbies are popular? What hobbies do majority of the people in your country do? Okay, now you may answer this question by saying, let us look at sample answer 5. In my country, majority of the people like recreational fishing, watching sports on television, and camping. Playing computer games is also very popular. In my country, majority of the people like recreational fishing, watching sports on television, and camping. Playing computer games is also very popular. Now, in this question, I have listed the hobbies. Okay, remember the question is not what hobby is popular in your country. If the question was what hobby is popular in your country, then you would give just one hobby. But the question is what hobbies? Hobbies, plural, that means more than one. So the examiner expects you to talk about a number of hobbies, okay? So in my country, majority of the people like recreational fishing, watching sports on television, and camping. Playing computer games is also very popular. So in that answer, you have a number of hobbies. That is recreational fishing, watching sports on television, camping, and playing computer games. Okay? Now, I would also recommend that you try answering the questions in 3 parts. Put your ideas in 3 parts. Let me explain what I mean. Look at question 5. In my country, majority of the people like recreational fishing, that is 1, watching sports on television, and camping. So those are 3 parts of the answer that I have put together in 3s, okay? In my country, majority of the people like baking, knitting, and cooking, okay? So you put your answers in 3. That helps you to sound like you're more fluent, okay? In my country, majority of the people like recreational fishing, watching sports on television, and camping. Okay? Now, let's move on to question 6. Why do you think people have hobbies? Why do you think people have hobbies? And then before I tackle question 6, I would like to point out for question 5, remember you're not being asked for your own opinion. Okay? Question 1, question 2, question 3, and question 4, the examiner is expecting you to provide your own point of view, your opinion. But in question 5, it's not about you. You're simply being asked to comment, okay, from your own observation. So here, do not provide your own point of view. Like, for example, don't say, in my country, majority of the people like recreational fishing, watching sports on television, and camping, which I find extremely boring, because according to me, you should do something that is a little bit more fun. Okay? Do not do that. You're not being asked for your personal opinion in question 5. You're simply being asked to provide your own personal, your observation, okay, of what people like to do. Not what you think should be a popular hobby, okay, but what hobbies are popular in your country, what the people in your country like to do, okay? Now let's move on to question 6. Why do you think people have hobbies? In this question, the examiner now wants to know your own personal opinion. The examiner wants to know, according to you, why do you think people have hobbies? Why do people do or carry out their hobbies? Why? What is the reason behind it? Now you may answer this question by saying, when the examiner asks you, why do you think people have hobbies? Hobbies give people an opportunity to relax, learn something new, and socialize with others who love the same hobbies. It can also be a good way to develop your talent and make a career out of it. Hobbies give people an opportunity to relax, learn something new, and socialize with others who love the same hobbies. It can also be a good way to develop your talent and make a career out of it. Now, in that answer, I have provided a few reasons as to why I think people have hobbies. And that is 1, to relax, 2, to learn something new, 3, to socialize with others, 4, to develop their talents, and 5, to make a career out of it. So ensure that you always provide a detailed answer. And once more, you can see in the first part of the answer, I put my ideas together in 3s. Okay, hobbies give people an opportunity to relax, that is 1, learn something new, 2, and socialize with others who love the same hobbies. So that is usually a really good way to put your answers together. It helps you sound, like I said earlier, it makes you sound really, really fluent. Okay? But also it's easier to pronounce and say sentences when they are in 3s. Okay? Hobbies give people an opportunity to relax, learn something new, and socialize with others who love the same hobbies. But it's also a really good trick. It gives you a chance to think of the answer, okay? Because you can pause, okay? Hobbies give people an opportunity to relax, learn something new, and socialize with others who love the same hobbies, okay? Now, this brings me to the last part of our lesson, where I am going to provide you with just a few tips to ensure that you pass your IELTS speaking test. Number 1, ensure that you use vocabulary that is related to the topic that the question is about. Like, for example, we are talking about hobbies here. So I have used words such as baking, knitting, cooking, reading, writing, okay, a mixer, a whisk, a sieve, an oven, baking sheets, a tray, if you want to talk about baking, for knitting, needles, yarn, a crochet hook, and then for cooking, cooking pans, stirring spoons, a cooker, okay, reading, okay, writing, a book, pens, writing pads, okay. I have also talked about enjoyable, fulfilling, learning, sharing equipment, okay. I have also used words like recreational fishing, watching sports on television, camping, playing computer games, relax, learn something new, socialize with others, okay, develop your talent, make a career out of it. All those are words and phrases that are related to this topic of hobbies. So ensure that you always provide the examiner with the correct vocabulary that is related to the topic. Number 2, ensure that you use a variety of sentence structures. Use your simple, complex, and compound sentences. Number 3, ensure that for each question you provide at least 2 to 3 answers. Join your answers together using linking words such as and, but, furthermore. If you're not familiar with that, have a look at my playlist. I have uploaded, the playlist is grammar. I have uploaded a video on linking words or connectors. They will help you to know how to join your ideas together. Now, and then finally ensure that you use intonation when you're speaking. Intonation means you raise and lower your voice depending on what it is that you're saying, okay? Now, finally, I'm going to read the questions out, and as I read the questions, please think of an answer. Are you ready? Okay, let us begin. Question 1. Do you have a hobby? Question 2. What equipment do you need for it? Question 3. Do you think that hobbies should be shared with other people? Question 4. Did you have a hobby as a child? Question 5. What hobbies are popular in your country? Question 6. Why do you think people have hobbies? Now, I hope you're able to answer all those questions correctly, but if you had a few problems here and there, then do not worry because you still have the sample answers. You can practice and practice until you are perfect, okay? Now, thank you very much for watching. Remember to subscribe to the channel, share the video with everybody who needs it. Share the video on your social media platforms, for example, on Facebook, okay? And remember to give this video a thumbs up. Now, until our next lesson, bye-bye.